1.67 terabytes worth of private data from Insomniac Games is now available to the public. A decade worth of future plans, all detailed before our very eyes. But the employees having their personal data stolen, I may be the man they call Crook, but even I have limits. This is the Crook Report. Last week, Insomniac Games was hacked by a group known as Rizida. I'm probably not saying that right. Please don't hack me. Rizida took all of Insomniac's data and posted it up for auction on the dark web, giving Sony 1 week to hand over 50 Bitcoin. Rizida said failure to do so would end in the files being released to the public for all to see. Sony then said in a statement,
"No.
Alright, that's not exactly official, but they didn't buy the data back, so Rizida did exactly what they said they would do. Footage of the much anticipated Wolverine game, as well as a ton of personal and private information, was leaked to the public. 1.3 million files uploaded, exposing all the internal information on upcoming release dates, budgets, contracts, Sony and Marvel emails. Basically, it's everything at Insomniac Games. I'm not going to show any footage or leak any actual information here, obviously, but I will say about this Wolverine game, it looks pretty damn good. People on Twitter were quick to judge the game, saying it's not good, graphics are bad, animations are janky. Of course it is, guys. It's not finished. That's like eating coffee grounds fresh out of the can and saying it tastes terrible. Of course, it isn't made yet, dumbass. So Insomniac, what I saw of the game, it looks great. Keep doing what you're doing. Twitter is just a hub for anger. Just stay away from it. Sorry, X, whatever. As for the hackers, a Rizida spokesperson said, wait, a spokesperson? Do hackers have a PR division now? Alright, well, when asked, a spokesperson for these criminals said in an email that, I can't believe I'm saying that. Are they fielding questions about the crime they just committed? What's going on? Anyways, they said, yes, we know who we were attacking. We knew that developers making games like this would be an easy target. They went on to mock Sony by saying they've launched an investigation, but it would be better in the backyard. Which is kind of a weird way of saying you can look, but you'll never find us. I mean, it's brilliant. Brilliant way of saying that. Well worded. Don't hack me. The hacker group themselves have been very busy lately, having hacked into the British Library, a bunch of healthcare companies, which apparently led to the leak of 500,000 social security numbers, which is actually pretty crazy, and rumor has it that they've also hacked into other international government organizations, but this is not confirmed. I guess when contacted, their spokesperson denied to comment on their international crimes and chose to keep all questions focused on their domestic crimes. As of recording, neither Insomniac nor Sony have commented on the leaks, though there is one interesting piece of information that came from these leaks. PlayStation is nervous about Xbox. Now let me make this clear. I don't want any individual person to be hacked and have to navigate that whole crisis. Having your data stolen and leaked onto the internet is terrible, and I would not wish that on anybody. But I have no sympathy for greedy companies like Sony, so here we go. Sony is scared of Xbox. Sony made a PowerPoint, which you know is serious, about how Xbox is poised to leapfrog their current pillars. I hate corporate language. Here's what they're saying. Sony are currently in the lead in the race against Xbox, but are very concerned about how Xbox may have positioned themselves to shake and bake past them, leaving Sony with just a little bit less money than they already have. That is such a shame, you guys. Aww. Does your industry only have one competitor and they're holding you back from having an entire monopoly on the console gaming industry? That's so sad for you guys. There's also the threat of Call of Duty. In fact, they call it the Call of Duty threat. The deal signed by Microsoft to keep Call of Duty available on PlayStation ends in 2027, and Sony is nervous. They predict a massive threat to its PlayStation Plus subscriptions, which amounts to about $1.5 billion in revenue for the company, which means 2027 is gonna bring a huge spike to their PS Plus prices. Thanks a lot, Xbox, you're just as bad. So what was the point of all of this? Ultimately, the hackers didn't really get what they wanted from this. So are game developers really worth hacking into, even if they are an easy target? I don't know. GTA 6 was leaked, but then the official trailer broke records, so it seems like there's certainly still some interest, and I'm sure they'll do just fine despite the leaks. As for Insomniac, the hackers posted proof of the hack and stated it would go to the highest bidder, and Sony was free to partake in the bidding war if they wanted to. But why would they? Why would Sony spend $2 million or more on protecting some video game content or even the employee information? Companies don't care about their employees. Now, obviously, there's the risk of more sensitive Sony information being sold off, but Sony had launched an internal investigation after the threat was initially made, and they confirmed that only Insomniac was affected by the attack. No other Sony division was at risk. So once Sony confirmed that only Insomniac was compromised, they were able to assess the situation, see what the damage could be if the leak came out, and ultimately decided they would rather let it leak than spend the $2 million on recovering the data, especially when there's no guarantee that the data wouldn't have copies made already. So if Sony doesn't care, who else would care to buy a bunch of Wolverine footage and some personal information that's probably already on the dark web? Which is true, this isn't a VPN ad. Your information is probably already on the dark web. You should know that and do what you can to protect yourself. But aside from that, all these hackers did was hurt the lower level employees working at Insomniac Games. So Sony, you better do something to help those people, because ultimately they're the real victims. Which, if you're a hacker capable of compromising international government organizations, is a pretty useless way to spend your time. They only managed to sell 2% of what they stole, which is not a lot. They should know you're not going to get $2 million or 50 Bitcoin for unreleased footage of a video game. That's ridiculous. Or actually, if anyone wants to give me 50 Bitcoin for my upcoming video release schedule and some unedited footage, I am open to negotiations. I'm the man they call Crook, and this has been the Crook Report.